Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt.
You definitely don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to understand that I really love coffee. I mean, you could just go through my videos and you'll probably see my coffee make a cameo in pretty much every single one of them. But I haven't always been a big fan of coffee. It wasn't really until I joined the Navy, where coffee is good as gold, that I started becoming more and more obsessed. Fun fact, did you know that the phrase "cup of joe" is said to have come from the US Navy? So the story goes that back during the Wilson administration, the Secretary of the Navy was Josephus Daniels. And he got really upset that the officers' mess had so many bottles of wine. He thought this was becoming a distraction on the ships. So he ordered all the ships to get rid of the wine and replace it with coffee. Hence the phrase, "cup of joe." Welcome to the Workout Nerd Out. I'm Julio Lopez. I've got my master's degree in nutrition, as well as being a certified strength and conditioning specialist and a certified personal trainer with over 8 years of experience in personal training. Caffeine is the most popular drug of choice in the world, and coffee is probably the most popular way that people get the caffeine. While coffee is mostly drank by people to help them wake up in the morning, were you aware that it can actually give you some really valuable health benefits? Studies indicate that drinking coffee can reduce the risk of type 2 diabetes, reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease, and improve cognitive function. The first thing, reduced risk of type 2 diabetes. As long as more and more Americans are becoming obese or overweight, you can expect the rates of type 2 diabetes to continue to rise. And if you happen to be Black or Hispanic, or you have a couple of family members that are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, you are more susceptible to being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes yourself. Your best bet to avoid getting type 2 diabetes yourself is through weight management. When you drink a cup of black coffee, that is with no creamer and no sugar, a cup really only has about 5 calories. But it's when a person goes to Starbucks and gets their little fancy drinks with all these syrups and sugars and whipped creams and everything that it's not unrealistic that some of those drinks have over 500 calories in them. I mean, most meals are usually around 400 to 500 calories depending on the size of the meals. Did you know that drinking coffee can help improve insulin sensitivity? In a systematic review and meta-analysis of 30 studies by Murmur and et al. In 2020, researchers found that habitual coffee consumption was associated with improved insulin sensitivity. This could be a key factor in reducing the development of type 2 diabetes. Chronic inflammation is one of the body's first indicators that there's something going wrong, and in many cases, as it lasts longer, it can lead towards the development of type 2 diabetes. In Erger et al. 2020, researchers found that coffee consumption was associated with lower levels of inflammatory markers, such as C-reactive protein, suggesting a possible protective effect against inflammation. If you happen to control the inflammation in time, you might be able to get yourself out of being pre-diabetic. Liver fat accumulation can lead to serious health concerns and increase the risk of premature death, including being a risk factor for type 2 diabetes. A 2020 study found that coffee consumption was associated with a lower risk of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and it reduced liver fat accumulation, possibly due to the anti-inflammatory properties that exist in coffee. The second thing, improve cognitive function. Now let's be honest, who on earth would reject the idea of having improved cognitive function? If you're saying it's you, then you're either an insane person or you're probably the least motivated person on earth. Whether you're a student, a drive-thru attendant at Chick-fil-A, or the lead researcher for the cure for cancer, each of these scenarios require excellent cognitive function. Are you someone that struggles remembering people's names, or you find yourself forgetting some things? Then maybe you could start drinking some black coffee to enhance that memory. In Fernandez et al. 2018, researchers concluded that caffeine consumption improved long-term memory consolidation, which is a process of stabilizing and strengthening memories. This could be especially helpful for the college students on test day, assuming that you did all your reading, you studied well ahead of time, and you got your 8 hours of sleep. Does your job require you to analyze and process loads of information on the fly? A 2014 study found that caffeine consumption improved information processing speed, which is the rate at which information can be assessed, analyzed, and acted upon. Anyone from trial attorneys to police officers can truly benefit from this. Executive function involves higher level cognitive processes, such as working memory, decision-making, and problem-solving. A 2014 study in the research journal Neuropharmacology, researchers found that moderate caffeine consumption was associated with better executive function compared to low or high caffeine consumption. So in other words, this doesn't mean that you have to drink gallons and gallons of coffee each day and it's going to make your brain into a supercomputer. Instead, drinking that much coffee is probably going to give you a really upset stomach and you're going to be using the restroom every 20 minutes. The third thing, reduce risk of cardiovascular disease. Even in the COVID era, it doesn't even make a dent on how many people, especially Americans, die of cardiovascular disease. While cancer is a leading cause of death amongst Americans between ages 40 and 60, cardiovascular disease is a really close second. By adopting a healthier lifestyle and replacing alcoholic drinks and sodas with drinking black coffee, you can really reduce the amount of calories that you're taking in each day. High blood pressure is known as a silent killer, and that's because most people that have high blood pressure are usually unaware that they have it until they go see a doctor who tells them, hey, you have high blood pressure. In a 2011 meta-analysis of 18 studies that was published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, researchers found that coffee consumption was associated with a modest reduction of blood pressure, which, remember, is a high risk factor for cardiovascular disease. It's also important to remember that hypertension, high blood pressure, is also associated with reduced cognitive function. Poor diet and sedentary lifestyle are the perfect recipe for developing chronic inflammation. Not only is drinking black coffee a low-calorie drink that you can enjoy, but it may help to reduce some of that inflammation. In fact, in a 2018 study, researchers found that regular coffee consumption was associated with lower inflammatory markers, such as C-reactive proteins and interleukin-6, both of which are associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. Endothelial function refers to the ability for blood vessels to expand and constrict in response to various stimuli. A lot of times if you see a person who's really out of shape try to play a game of basketball and they start complaining of feeling lightheaded, some of that may be due to poor endothelial function. A study found that caffeine consumption actually improved endothelial function, which may help in preventing the development of cardiovascular disease. In conclusion, drinking coffee can have a range of benefits, including reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease and improving cognitive function. However, it is important that you drink your coffee in moderation and to be aware of the negative side effects that could come from drinking too much coffee. If you're looking to improve your health, adding a moderate amount of coffee can be a simple and enjoyable way to do so. So that does it for today's Workout Nerd Out. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave one in the comment section. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Until next time, I'll see you on the next Workout Nerd Out.